Hello, chess friends, and welcome to your Out of Chess channel, and welcome to a spectacular tournament that you have requested to see here on my YouTube chess channel. Welcome to the TCEC Season 27 Fisher Random event that you can follow now on the official and beautiful TCEC website. So, Fisher Random Chess, also called Chess 960, is of course a chess variant in which the pieces are not the same on the first rank. The pieces are mixed up on the first rank. Fisher Random Chess, I think, becomes more and more popular because there's not so much theory. Sometimes especially classical time format games can be too theoretical, and many games of course are ending with a draw. So that's why Fisher Random Chess is also a beautiful variant in which we see many great tactical shots. We see many queen sacrifices, rook sacrifices, double sacrifices, decoys, deflections. So the games are really tactical. So I think in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years, Fisher Random Chess will be more and more popular for sure. And we're starting now this TCEC Season 27 with an amazing gameplay by the most powerful chess engine in the world, by Stockfish 17. I've sorted out now a game where Stockfish is playing with the black pieces, and Stockfish is dominating this event. After 14 rounds, Stockfish has gained 11.5 points without losing any games. With black, with white, Stockfish is not losing any games in Fisher Random Chess, which is really crazy. Of course, Stockfish is in the lead, and of course Stockfish will, I think for sure, win this beautiful TCEC competition. So let's dive now into this game. Put your seatbelts on. Here you see really spectacular tactics again by Stockfish 17. So its opponent Renegade played with the white pieces and opened with the move e4. The fish response was b5, and I like here this choice by black to immediately go with the pawn that is supported by the rook. So Stockfish is immediately searching here for an expansion on the queen side. We have now the move f3. Renegade hits now the pawn, and from this point on the game becomes already tactical. Stockfish doesn't care for a pawn, goes aggressively with the move f5. Really wild stuff. It allows here Renegade to take out now the pawn on a7. We have now bishop to c6 by the fish, trying of course in some lines to attack the queen. E takes f5. Now comes this idea. Renegade has to now step back, and now queen takes a2. Okay, in this line so far that we see, Stockfish lost now a pawn, but has now a great rook and queen battery as a compensation for the lost pawn. And also what's worth to mention, now in this particular position, the queen of whites is a little bit exposed. When we watch now this position, notice also that the queen is lined up on the d file. So if something clears on the d file, then the queen could be endangered. So really interesting choice here by Stockfish to proceed in this particular position. b4 by Renegade. Stockfish continues now with the pressure against the pawn. Renegade protects it, and now immediately here a stunning idea. We have now the move e5. F takes e6 by Renegade, and now we have d takes e6. Now the d file is open, and Renegade has to lose another tempo with the queen. Bishop to b2. Stockfish attacks now the queen. Renegade plays a counter attack, of course. Here the queen is also under fire, so you have to take it with the pawn. And now queen to e5. Renegade finally steps back from the d file and is securing the queen here. But now there are other problems. You see, black has a great activity, as we mentioned, with the rook and the queen. Has also this powerful bishop that will take out maybe the pawn here on b4. Continues still with the bishop pair, and now the only thing that you have to do, I think, from black's perspective, is somehow to include the knight into the game, include the bishop, and suddenly I think the beautiful piece activity that black gains is, I think, a good compensation again for lost material in the opening stage. We have now knight to g6 by Stockfish. Queen takes e6. Stockfish is allowing here Renegade to take many pawns, but now bishop to d7. The queen has to now step back. Queen to e4 was played here by Renegade, and now bishop takes b4. What should you do? For instance, bishop takes g7 is not a good option here. You cannot take the pawn because then you're getting simply destroyed here. Like this, bishop to b2. Then after a couple more moves, we play check, and then you just pin the rook, and the game is over. Here for black, you cannot for white pawn, you cannot play queen to d4 because of here this idea check, and then it's simply game over. Rook to b1 and queen takes b1 is game over again here for white. So that's why black is very active with the bishop. White cannot simply leave this king unprotected because a huge threat is, of course, bishop to a3. That's why rook to a1, played by Renegade, attacking now the queen, and you can guess what the fish is doing. Stockfish plays now the amazing queen takes a1, sacrifices the queen. We have now bishop to e1, rook takes a1, king to b2, and now we have here rook to a4. Of course, here rook to d1 is not possible because of the queen to a8 checkmate. So Stockfish had everything under control. Plays first of all rook to a4. We have now rook to a1, but now the issue is that the queen is again lined up here on the e file, and there are now many tactical problems again in White's position. Stockfish continues now with rook to e8. You cannot play rook takes a4 because after rook to e4 and maybe rook takes b4, then this knight will be taken, and Stockfish in this tactical sequence would continue with an extra piece. Maybe here you can pick up this one and have some pawns as a compensation, but I think it's not enough. This should be a completely winning position here for Stockfish. After rook to e8, that's why queen to d4, Stockfish takes, Renegade takes, but now again this knight is hanging here on the e-file. Great tactical sequence by the fish, understanding really this unsecured king by White. Really amazing stuff. In the continuation you have to play now king to b2, and now Stockfish plays a calm rook to e6, tries of course to get the rook maybe on the b file, on the c file. Stockfish gained now rook and 2 minor pieces for the queen, which is of course a much better position now for black. We have now knight to e4. If you play here queen takes c4, this is also not working. Bishop to d2, you're trying maybe to get the knight into the game, but then the rook is coming. You have to now step back. Black would continue the attacking flow. White has to always step back. White has to play always passive moves. So even in this line, again, black should be much better. So after rook to e6, knight to e4, Stockfish plays now the aggressive rook to b6. Renegade steps back, and now bishop to e6. Stockfish holds still this pawn on c4. g3, we have now bishop to a3. The threat is of course bishop to b2. Renegade covers that, and now rook to a6. So see, the king is cornered again. White has several tactical problems to secure the king. King to b1, rook to a5, not allowing this knight to play actively in the game. Very good move, I would say, here by Stockfish. f4, and now bishop to d5, king to c2, knight to e7, trying of course to get finally also the knight into the game. King to d1. Queen to g7 is of course not possible because the queen is overloaded to the defense of the knight on e4. That's why king to d1. Renegade is trying to escape, of course, somehow here towards the center, and now Stockfish plays a calm king to b7, king to e1. We have h6, queen to e5, and now a brilliant idea again, g5. This move is not allowing here White to take, because then you get this one, knight to c6. Then the queen has to somewhere step back, but still has to protect, of course, the knight on e4. But then after bishop to e4, queen to e4, and rook to e5, the queen gets trapped, and again it's game over for White. So that's why after g5, king to f2, we have knight to c6, queen comes here, and now again a new attack here by Stockfish. Stockfish keeps again the attack, always threatens something. Simple threat idea is, I think, a great idea here by Black. Queen to e5, we have g takes f, g takes f4, and now rook to b5, trying of course somehow to get the rook more active, maybe go behind the pawns, also maybe go here on the second rank. And the good part about Black's pieces is that everything is compact, everything is glued together. For instance, look at this, the knight is protecting the bishop is attacking the knight, this bishop is protecting the knight that is supporting the bishop, the rook is also protecting the bishop, so everything is playing in beautiful harmony here in Black's position. h4, knight to c8, we have now f5, bishop to c6, queen to e6, and now Stockfish finds new better squares for its pieces. King to g3, rook to d5, we have now queen takes h6, f6, for instance. If you try, I wanted to demonstrate it just one line that I've analyzed at home. F6 seemed tempting to me. Maybe that white could maybe just make progress with this extra pawn on the F file. But then knight to D7, you're trying maybe to push the pawn further. But now bishop to F8 stops, of course, the progress of the pawn. You're trying to go maybe around. But then look at this. You can even in some lines, I wanted to really demonstrate, you can even in some lines run into a checkmate sequence. For instance, there is now this idea. Rook to F3, great move. You cannot play king takes F3 because of knight to E5, the royal fork against the rook and the queen. Maybe you go here, then the knight is coming, you have to step back, and then after bishop to E4, queen takes F8, you get this one. In one particular line that I've analyzed at home, look at this, you can get even checkmated. So the piece activity of blacks is really great. So you see Stockfish has many pictures, many checkmate threats that could be possible. So the bishop is very active, the knight, as we mentioned, is also centralized. So this is just one line that I think was really cool, even giving up some material but then activating the pieces. So that's why after rook to d5, pushing the pawn is not really the optimal idea. Renegade took now this pawn on h6, but now after rook to e5, knight to g5, Stockfish can also finally grab the pawn here on f5. We have knight to e6, Stockfish delivers a check, new check, and you see now both bishops are very active. The rook is also there, and black is having again a much better position. Black is having very beautiful piece activity. King to g1, bishop to d5. We have now h5, rook to h3, king to f1, and now bishop to e6. Why not? Deflecting the queen from the defense of the pawn, and we're reaching now this beautiful endgame in which again Stockfish has a rook and two minor pieces against the queen, and both engines have here two pawns on the board. Queen to f7, rook to e5, d3, c takes d3. Now Renegade played a check and got the pawn back, but this is simply not working. Stockfish will demonstrate here really a powerful idea how to play this type of an endgame where you have three pieces against the queen. Simply rook to c5, going for the pawn, again attacking the pawn. Now Stockfish steps back, and now finally this pawn is taking the positions, really collapsing here for white. Queen to b2 c6, Renegade comes closer, but now again look at this, everything is again glued together, compact. Rook is protecting the pawn, the pawn is protecting the knight, the rook is protected by the bishop, and the knight is protecting the bishop. So really a beautiful sort of hedgehog position here by Stockfish. We have now king to e4, king to d7, new check, but it doesn't matter. The knight is always a good defender against potential checks by the queen. Queen to a7, rook to c4 check. Again, black has opportunity to activate the pieces further. Queen to a1, and now knight to b5. Stockfish is slowly but surely getting closer and closer with its pieces against white's king. We have now queen to g7 check. So here Renegade steps back. Stockfish again centralizes the rook. We have king to b3, bishop to c7, and now simply getting the king closer and closer to the action. Queen to g5, king to b6. We have now queen to c3, new check by Stockfish, rook to c2, rook to d6, and an attack against the queen. And now finally Stockfish has the opportunity to push the pawn further. King to b3, rook to d3. We have now again a centralizing move by the Stockfish engine, and now again a beautiful check. King to c2, rook to f4, a new attack against the queen. Queen to g7, c4. Again Stockfish has the opportunity to push the pawn further. Queen to g3. We have now rook to d4. The queen is under fire. You have to step back. Even if you try, I don't know, queen to g6, then bishop to d6 is possible. So then again, getting the king closer, pushing the pawn further, delivering checks. So it's not maybe a game that you will win fast, but slowly and surely you're getting more and more progress here with the black pieces. So after rook to d4, a Renegade tried queen to g5, bishop to f4 to attack against the queen. Stockfish gets the king now even closer to the action. Queen to f8, and now a new check. Renegade has to step back, bishop to g5. The threat is of course here rook to d8 check, and maybe picking up the queen. So that's why queen to a3 here by Renegade. Interesting move, of course, because after knight takes a3, it's a beautiful stalemate. Of course, Stockfish sees that. After queen to a3, here king to b6, we have queen to b4, c3, king to b1, c2, we have king to b2. If you, for instance, try here king to c1, then there is a problem of rook to rook to e2, and then after a couple more moves we can even promote here, and for instance this would be a checkmate. So that's why after c2 by Stockfish here, Renegade tried king to b2, but now a new promotion. Now the king is lined up against the bishop, and now a new check, and after rook to d4 in this particular position, Renegade resigned. Obviously the queen will be taken, and Stockfish is continuing the game with decisive material. So amazing game with the black pieces in Fischer random chess that Stockfish dominates like this. When it comes to, I don't know, this normal TCEC competitions in classical chess, these engines can hold some of this position, but in Fischer random chess, Stockfish is simply beast. Really amazing performance here with the black pieces. This beautiful queen sacrifice, lining up pieces on the same files, activation of the pieces for giving up material, but then have a beautiful piece activity. I think we have seen really instructive methods in chess for sure. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game in freestyle chess. You can call it whatever you like. We'll continue to follow this event. I think we'll see many interesting games for sure. If you want to see some other beautiful games by Stockfish and also by some other engines in normal chess, but also in Fischer random chess, check out our Come to Chess Games Play by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.